Hello and welcome back to Transfer Review, the show where we put silly season underneath the microscope. It's actually going to be the last one until it must be late December that we'll bring it back. But what a stint it's been, and I'm joined today by the guy that thinks Ernie Santiago is the guy who plays for West Ham in goal, Sam Obaseki.
It was an honest mistake.
It was an honest mistake.
It happens to the best of us,
It did. So, it did. You're much better in a chair here than you are as a referee.
That's for sure. I'm just going to stick to some transfer reviews from now on.
And the first one we are discussing is Mauro Icardi to PSG, Sam.
Yeah, it is kind of an odd one. I'd say it's probably one of the most bizarre but big transfers of this window, just because obviously Icardi is a big player. He's moving to PSG from Inter Milan on a season-long loan for an initial fee of €5 million with an option to buy of €65 million. So that's not too bad. Obviously, they're paying these wages of around $5 million a season. So yeah,
not too much of a problem for PSG though. That wage package.
But it is a bit odd. But we'll go into that later. PSG had a busy deadline day, also completing the signing of goalkeeper Keylor Navas from Real Madrid, with Alfonso Areola going the other way on a season-long loan. So PSG were keen on bringing in attacking reinforcements after Kylian Mbappe and Cavani were both injured in their League One fixture against Toulouse last week.
Yeah, quite a blow that.
Makes a lot of sense, but does mean that when they do come back, they're going to have 4 possible strikers with Neymar, Mbappe,
big personalities
Cavani,
as well,
and Icardi. So that is strong.
That's a lot of ego for Tuchel.
That's a lot of egos, but that's probably one of the strongest forward lineups.
Yeah, it's got to be right up there. Yeah.
Associated Press reported last week that Icardi is suing Inter for discrimination, claiming.
Oh, just one final dagger to the heart, isn't it?
It does kind of make sense because apparently Antonio Conte just discarded him from all forward training. So when the strikers were doing the striker training, he just had to watch. He wasn't involved. And also defamation of character. I don't know if that was Conte. Maybe it was you, Icardi, because I know you're a bit of a madman. You're a bit of a madman. Icardi was deemed surplus to requirements by Antonio Conte, obviously, as he has not been in any matchday squad this season. But obviously, Icardi he's a good baller.
Yeah, I mean, when he's fit and motivated, he's one of the best out-and-out goal scorers in Europe. I wouldn't necessarily say he's the most well-rounded striker, but his stats at Inter Milan are pretty exceptional. So, in 219 appearances in all competitions across 2 seasons, he scored 124 goals and got 28 assists. Obviously, his commitment to the side last year was pretty questionable. Spalletti then stripped him of the captaincy, gave it to Handanovic. However, he still managed 17 goals and 5 assists in 37 games in all competitions. But people are asking, how will he fit in the Parc des Princes? Initially, I imagine it would be off the bench. With these injuries, but I think when everyone's fully fit, Cavani will probably start ahead of him.
Yeah.
But what an option to have off the bench. But I do worry, as we talked about earlier, the ego. He is one for the big occasion, though. In 13 games against Juventus, he has 10 goal involvements, netting an impressive 8 goals. So against the likes of Lyon and Lille in Ligue 1, he'll be looking to step up once again. And as we've said, joins a lethal attack at PSG. Front line of Neymar, Cavani, Mbappe, backed up by Di Maria, Draxler, Sarabia.
The names.
And Neymar, Cavani, Mbappe and Di Maria scored 78 Ligue 1 goals between them last season. That's more than double the amount of the goals that Monaco scored. And you don't expect that to improve for Monaco this year with Slimani up front. Although they do have Ben Yedder, but Falcao leaving for Galatasaray. Met by something like 10,000 fans in the airport, and his announcement video got 100,000 likes on Twitter within 10 minutes.
But he is a legend of the game.
100%. And Turkish fans, you're all crazy if you're watching this.
They're amazing fans.
They do love supporting their new players. Icardi may struggle for minutes though with so much depth in attack. Even Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting has been firing this term with 3 goals in 2 Ligue 1 games. New signing Pablo Sarabia will add something different as well. He can play in a variety of positions. He's got very good creativity. He's played all 4 games so far. So there's plenty of competition, but with Neymar staying in Paris and no doubt back in the team soon, Icardi's numbers might be limited for the first part of the season, but you'd imagine he comes to the fore at various points as well. A loan deal actually suits PSG pretty well with Icardi's sort of unpredictable nature. So they're paying his wages. They get one of the best out-and-out goal scorers in Europe. you know, along with Barcelona, they've probably got one of the most exciting front lines in Europe now, I would
100%,
argue.
100%.
I'm quite a big fan of this, and if he can get back to his 17-18 form where he netted 29 goals in 34 Serie A games, then PSG have a serious striker on their hands. But PSG fans, we want to hear from you. Do you think it's going to be worth the trouble? Do you think it could lead to more issues with Tuchel? Or do you think it's just a really exciting signing? Let us know in the comments down below, and let's move on to our next one. Before we move on to Catarrian to Roma, don't forget to subscribe to Eurofootball Daily. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell to never miss a video. Let's get on to the Armenian.
So the next transfer we'll be talking about is Henrik Catarrian to Roma. To a lot of Arsenal fans' delight, the Armenian is making his way to Italy for a fee of €3 million, a loan move. Initially, I know a few Arsenal fans are hoping that's going to be a bit longer, but it's just a loan move for this season. The Armenians surprisingly came on in the North London derby at the 67th minute.
We were talking about this. It doesn't really make any sense if you're about to sell him.
Yeah, and you could tell that he wasn't really in the game. I think he made 3 mistakes when he came on, 1 uncompleted dribble. He just didn't seem there.
Yeah, and you could tell his teammates were just sort of quite reluctant to pass him as well. And if I was someone like Reece Nelson sitting on the bench, or Joe Willock, although we're hearing that he was also injured, then you'd be a bit like, why are they playing ahead of me? Although they have been given plenty of opportunities at the start of this season. So I think it's au revoir for now.
Yeah.
I don't think Arsenal fans are too
It was a
upset.
bit of a weird one. You could tell the managers that he'd played under in England have always tried to give him that chance, like that second chance. In Arsenal, Emery seemed to love his work ethic. At United, Jose Mourinho used to play him, but it's never really worked out for him in England. He came in 2016 for £30 million, following an amazing season in Germany where he registered 55 goal involvements in 52 games in all competitions.
Wow.
His form didn't really translate in the Premier League. When he came to United, I think he only got 13 goals and assisted 11 in 63 games altogether.
Yeah.
And he only had a few moments, one of the moments being the goal that he scored in the Europa League final.
Yeah,
and of course, that amazing scorpion kick. And that was about it for his time at United. So he did end up making that swap deal with Alexis Sanchez in January 2018, which saw him join Arsenal and Alexis Sanchez join United. It never really worked out for both parties, but the Armenian captain made 59 appearances for the Gunners, scoring 9 goals and assisting 13, very similar to his time at Old Trafford. So he never really got going in England. He seemed like one of those confidence players that as soon as something gets to him, he's just done.
Yeah.
Because he had that period at United, I think the first 5 games when he got 5 assists straight. And then after that, he was nowhere to be seen.
He's so in and out of the side as well. I did feel slightly sorry for him in that side, but I don't think he ever really grabbed his opportunities when he did play.
Yeah.
I think in Dortmund he often played as a 10. At Arsenal he seemed to be used on the right wing quite a lot. It wasn't really his natural game. He's not really much of a dribbler, and he's got a pretty horrible left foot. But hopefully he can pick it up in Rome.
Let's have a quick look at his Premier League stats last season. He made 25 appearances, scored 6 goals, got 4 assists, 1.2 key passes per 90 and 0.8 dribbles per 90 as well. So not great. As I said earlier, you Arsenal fans weren't really happy seeing him coming on or starting games, thought that there were other players off the bench that could do better jobs. And to be fair, I do agree he's never really got going.
Yeah, and big wages as well. Never really justified it. I think it was £180,000 per week.
Yeah.
So I think Arsenal fans were just happy to get that off the wage bill, introduce more young players. But he joins a Roma squad. We've got to look at their perspective now, who've already added 9 players this summer, including the loan signings of David Zappacosta from Chelsea and Chris Smalling from United. They've gone sort of Premier League bargain bucket. And the Giallorossi have had a very busy summer. They spent £98 million in all and made £93 million on departures. They actually started the summer, I thought, quite excitingly, bringing in the likes of Brian Cristante permanently, Spinazzola, who was the other one, Diawara as well. But in the last couple of weeks seem to have gone sort of average Premier League player crazy, which I think if you want to challenge for the title in Italy is probably not the way to go.
Yeah.
But Mkhitaryan will help to fill the void left by Stefan El Shaarawy, who left for Chinese club Shanghai Green and Shenhua for £14 million. The Italian scored 11 with 7 assists in 33 games last season and was the side's top scorer in Serie A. He also had the most dribbles per 90 with 1.6 and was fouled more than anyone else in the side, 1.3 times per game. But Mkhitaryan faces a tough task filling his boots, but is more than capable. when he gets going. I think if he used in a 10 role alongside sort of Cengiz Under, then I think it could get going. But I mean, Kolarov, I think, is now Roma's second top scorer from last season in the squad. Edin Dzeko hasn't been moved on despite being linked with Inter Milan all window long. So Roma's attack, I think you're putting a lot of pressure on an underform Mkhitaryan, and Cengiz Under, who whilst looked great in that game against Genoa, still hasn't produced across the whole season. But the former Shakhtar man can be pivotal in Roma's Europa League campaign with a very strong record in the competition of 20 goal involvements in 39 games. So that might well be his level.
He's so good in Europa League. Every time he plays, even with Arsenal or United, he just became a new man.
I think so. I think it was the like increased space you're given in the Europa League, a bit more time to pick your passes. He's a great technician, at least on one side of his body, but just never really was suited to the hustle and bustle of the Premier League. But Roma obviously narrowly missed out on a Champions League spot last season. And we want to know, will these signings, Roma fans, help get you back amongst Europe's elite at the end of 1920? Let us know in the comments down below. Let's move on to Javier Hernandez to Sevilla.
So we move on to Javier Hernandez to Sevilla. Sevilla are rounding off a hectic transfer window with the 31-year-old after signing him for £8 million from West Ham.
Money,
It does make sense. He's featured only 107 minutes this season. I think he's only started one game, but in that game he did score, and that was against Brighton. But since he's moved to the Olympic Stadium in 2017 for a fee of £60 million from Leverkusen, he's not really got going. Under all the managers that he's played under, they've never really seemed to favour him. With Bilic, Moyes and Pellegrini, the Mexican only started 31 times, often not fitting the style that they like to play with, the one striker up top. So it does kind of make sense. We did see him kind of not getting bullied, but appearing in and out of games. He'd have a few moments, but he'd never really get going.
No, I agree.
So his stats in the Bundesliga were much better. He scored 39 goals in all competitions across 2 seasons, but in East London, he wasn't as successful, scoring only 17 in both league and cup for the Irons. And after making 55 appearances, that isn't the Javier Hernandez that we'd expect.
Definitely the one of old,
Yeah. His stats also saw a significant drop-off. He was making 2.2 shots per 90, and in the Premier League, it dropped to 1.3. And whilst he's not a creator by any means, normally the one that's in behind or the poacher, he didn't get a single assist last season, and that's the first season that he's done that in the Premier League since he's been at United.
And especially for not an overly defensive side like West Ham, but they're not going to dominate the ball. They need a striker to bring others into play, to feed off. And you've seen with Haller this season that with runners coming off him, they've just looked so much more dangerous than when Chicharito played in that game against Brighton.
And that's the thing. I think now with the short success of Haller, I think this is the perfect time to let Hernandez go, because he's literally just sitting on the bench. He's just got a few minutes here and there, but they've got Haller, they've got Albion Ajeti, who just signed from FC Basel in the summer for £8 million. So I think they're looking for a new look strike force, and it was his time to leave, man.
Yeah. They've also got Mikel Antonio, who can play out front, but he's obviously out for 3.5 months. We actually interviewed him for Unfiltered yesterday, myself and Atkins, which will be coming out very soon.
Plug.
But exactly. But let's move on to Sevilla, because they have had a very busy summer indeed. They brought in 14 players for a total of £133 million. Notable arrivals include Jules Koundé, who's a centre-back from Bordeaux, very young, very highly rated, £22.5 million. Ronnie Lopez, I think it's a fantastic signing from Monaco, for £22.5. Munoz de Boer was electric at Salzburg last year, £16 million. Joan Jordan, £13 million. Luke de Jong, I think, came in for a similar sort of price. And Sergio Reguilon from Real Madrid on loan, who has started the season in exceptional form. Monchi has certainly made an impact after returning to the club from his ill-fated spell at Roma. And the club have got off to an absolutely flying start this campaign, winning their first 2 and gaining 7 points from a possible first 9. None of their new attacking signings have yet scored though, and despite Sevilla taking 14 shots a game, which is the 4th best, with 5 on target, which is the 3rd best, according to Understat, their XG is 5.3 from those 3 games. And having actually scored only 4, they are slightly underperforming in that. But with all these new signings to bed in, it might take a while. I always think your attack is the last thing to come together when you've signed quite a lot of new players. So I would suggest that this just needs a time to gel, and I think Javier Hernandez joins quite an exciting roster of attacking players there.
And he's played in Spain before.
He's played in Spain, exactly. Good spell at Real Madrid. But as you say, I always thought his best years was playing in front of Wayne Rooney and just getting on the end of things. He's very good in and around the 6-yard box and making a little yard for himself and flicked finishes and whatnot. So Sevilla fans, you've got another striker in your books. Are you as excited as you could have been if you'd signed Javi Hernandez 5 years ago? Probably not. But, he's coming to you age 31 and after 2 poor seasons. Experience as well. Let us know where you guys think you'll finish this year. It's probably the most exciting question. Can you keep up this good run of form? Let us know in the comments down below. Let's move on to some quick-fire transfer roundups.
So we put a tweet out and asked you guys for your best transfers for this season, and we're just going to reel out a few. The first one comes from @Lucas Fabianski, and it is Ernie Santiago to Whistler Krakow.
Yeah, he's trying to get rid of his rival, isn't he?
Listen, let it go. People make mistakes. I made a mistake behind the camera. It won't happen again. I probably won't ref again. If you want me to ref again, put it down in the comments below, and it might happen because I think it was actually one of the best episodes.
It did make it more entertaining, and I have calmed down since. But it was a very good episode. If you haven't checked out, go check out Saturday's Stat Wars even.
Cool. Let's go on to the real transfers.
Yeah, let's go on to the real one, because we've got one which came in from @RoomCobra. Thank you very much, RoomCobra, who says Stefano Scentsy to Inter Milan. That's because Scentsy joined Inter Milan from Sassuolo on loan for 1 season with an option to make the transfer permanent for €25 million. The 24-year-old made 68 appearances for the Nerazzurri with 10 goal involvements. His performances last season were particularly impressive. 1.9 key passes per 90, more than any Inter player. Fouled 2.4 times per game. Only 7 players were fouled more in Serie A last year. Excellent dribbler at the ball. 90% pass accuracy last term, and he's had a great start at Inter. He scored against Lecce on his debut, sort of dribbling through the box in the central area, really tidy finish.
That was a
really nice
finish.
He looks like he's just fitted instantly straight in there. Yeah. Conte has already said he's a massive fan and says Scentsy has a great understanding of football. So looks like a really promising addition to the Inter Milan squad. Great age, on loan for the year. Looks like this is going to be made permanent. Keep up the good form, Scentsy. But Sam, you've got another midfielder to bring to the table.
Yeah, this one is from @Menez_18. It is Ishmael Benicar to AC Milan. He has joined for £40 million from Empoli following their relegation last season. Although he couldn't stop the side being dropped, he still performed admirably in the park, obviously still getting that move. So in 37 appearances, he registered 5 assists, 1.8 dribbles and 2.6 tackles per game. That's more tackles per 90 than Juventus's Emre Can and AC's Bakayoko, obviously when he was there. The 21-year-old made the most ball recoveries last season with 312. And as an Algerian, he also helped them win the African Cup of Nations, getting the all-important assist that saw them win the cup. I think he slots nicely alongside Frank Kessie and should help AC Milan be a strong force in this season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been a bit mixed under Gianpaolo so far, but when they get it together, I'm sure they'll, rise up again. It's been quite a while since AC Milan were at the top.
Yeah, they've had not good transfer windows. They've had active transfer windows. I think this season they seem to have got players that will fill in the gaps a bit better than before. It doesn't seem as rushed. It seems more thought.
Yeah, I mean, Theo Hernandez, Rafa Leao as well. These are exciting times for AC Milan fans. It'll just take a while to bed them in. So patience is what was suggested.
Key.
But let's move on to Julian Brandt to Borussia Dortmund, which was suggested by He-Man United. So Brandt joined Dortmund for £22.5 million from fellow Bundesliga sides Bayer Leverkusen, signing a 5-year contract. The 23-year-old played 215 games for Leverkusen, scoring 42 and assisting 51. In 18-19, he had his best season to date with 27 goal involvements in 43 games, playing in a variety of positions. I mean, he then got dropped into midfield 3 when Peter Bosz took over, so he wasn't just playing in forward areas. So these are some really impressive numbers. The German winger even matches Real Madrid's new signing Eden Hazard for assists, 17 and key passes 2.6 per 90 last term, yet is considerably cheaper in price. And he's already off the mark for his new club, scoring in their 5-1 win over Augsburg. So I think this is a really exciting signing for Dortmund. We were sort of raving about him at the back end of last year. He was linked with the likes of Liverpool. Dortmund got it done really early along with Torgan Hazard and Schultz. At the start of June, I think that was. And he's had a full pre-season and seems to have hit the ground running. Haven't had a deeper dive into his numbers at Dortmund so far, but in a few games' time we'll have a better idea. But Sam, our final one, Nabil Fekir.
Nabil Fekir to Betis. This is come in from at Runha1921. If I got that wrong, don't get at me. Sorry. This one
a bit sensitive at the moment.
This one actually has got to me because I was hoping that Fekir would just hold on for one more season
and then come to
Chelsea, and it never happened. Betis signed Fekir from Lyon for 20 million euros, a steal. And he's already hit the ground running, and he seems like a good replacement for Giovanni Lo Celso, who has joined Spurs on loan for £50 million. In 3 La Liga games, Fekir's got 2 goals with 2 key passes and 4.3 dribbles per 90, the most dribbles in the league. And his stats all round last season were exceptional as well, especially in 17-18 where he scored 18 goals and assisted 7 in 30 League One games. Last season, the numbers dropped just a little bit. He got 9 goals and 7 assists in the league, but still performed well with 1.8 key passes and 3.1 shots, and was fouled 2.2 times a game. All superior to Lo Celso, so it seems like he's going to be a very good replacement for Betis, and I'm just gutted. I can't lie to you, because the Fekir signing, I genuinely thought, okay,
cool. You think it could happen?
I thought he could be not the perfect replacement for Hazard, but a bit more star power than certain players that we could potentially bring in.
Well, don't rule it out. I mean, maybe he might not commit to Betis for the duration of his contract. I actually can't remember how long his contract was, so maybe he'd be willing to move next year. You've seen lots of players, use Betis as a sort of a stepping stone club, which I'm sure Betis fans
Fekir, if you're watching this, you're probably not going to watch it, but you should. Next season,
come on, come over to London.
Come to not North London, come to West London.
Make Sam's dreams come true. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. That's our final transfer review for quite a while. We've got a new show coming out next week, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And lots of people have been asking about what's happened with the comment show. The comment show is coming back, but on a monthly basis, because Kieran is in charge of lots of our new content, which is also coming out soon. So we can't really drop any, but we can't really drop any news about what's happening even. But there's a lot to get excited about. It's top secret stuff. But Obba, thank you very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, dog. It was a pleasure.
Final transfer review of the season. Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to push to?
Squad goals, as usual. If you have not subscribed or if you're not liking or commenting, make sure you do that, because it is us playing FIFA, playing GTA, just playing games.
Just having a good time.
Playing with each other, Don't take that the wrong way, because I know a lot of you are dirty. But go on.
Out of context football daily. That'll be on this evening. Thanks very much for watching, guys.
See you later.